What's going on, everybody? Hope you can hear me. So today is 1/17/2025. Diamond David W. Williams, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world, also known as the highest paid online. So heads up on that. We're going to be running some MLK Day sales starting tomorrow, which is going to be Saturday, and it'll run through the end of next week. So be on the lookout for those. Appreciate everybody for coming through. So we're going to go ahead and get this off because I'm not going to do a Monday video. I was kind of inspired to go ahead and do this video right now, and we're gonna go ahead and get this out of the way so y'all can go ahead and enjoy this 3-day weekend if you get it. If not, do whatever you do on the weekend. Also gonna be doing the video tomorrow. And so what we're gonna talk about is you have to lead past your pain in life and business. And I think this is really, really important because I want you to understand that in life, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of pain. You're gonna have to deal with a lot of disappointment. And what I want to encourage you to do is not get stuck there, not to get on a cycle, not to get on a loop where you stay stuck there, because a lot of people monetize you being stuck there. So we're going to kind of go into market segments, right? If you're a Black woman, you're one of the most attractive consumer segments in the whole world. Okay. And what a lot of people do is they monetize you staying right where you're at. They give you 10% of the solution, but the other 90% is designed to keep you right where you're at. So if you notice, they'll give you a little bit of a solution, but they'll trigger you again to keep you right where you're at, because if you leave them, they can't make money off of you. So I got a really good video on this YouTube, and eventually we're going to put everything behind a membership. So people that value it will have to pay to see it. And we talk about how Nielsen report showed that the Black female consumer is very, very desirable, even though they're not at a high income level, right? But the goal is to keep them as this super consumer. Right. So you got to understand is that when you have dealt with a lot of pain, you've dealt with a lot of disappointment, a lot of people monetize you staying right there. This world heal is an internet world, because if so many people actually heal, they wouldn't be where they're at, and they wouldn't be doing business with people who just try to trigger their pain again to keep them right where they're at so they can keep getting money out of them. Right. If somebody's always telling you bad news about something, what is that about? They never have any good news to tell you about the world. It's always negative news. So you got to realize is that this is a really, really big thing that goes on. What I want to talk about is some of the things that I've been through and some of the things that you may be going through. And to get you to understand is that you have to lead past that, right? So really quickly, before we get into it, because we're going to kind of put everything all into the same video. So big up to Erica Williams for teaching me how to do this, right? And I learned it just through observing her. We know we're going into the MLK Day holiday. I think that's going to be on Monday. I think that's Inauguration Day on the same day. I'm not a fan of MLK. I'm not also against him, right? He was an activist. He did what he did. Like a lot of people, including myself, he wasn't perfect. But what a lot of people are going to try to do is create controversy by creating headlines against what they think he stood for, yada, 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 this, that, and the third. And I want to really encourage you not to get caught up in that. Okay, no person on this planet is perfect. Everybody got issues. Everybody has things that they have gone through in life, but it doesn't discount what they did that many people are benefiting from currently right now today, right? And also, let me explain something to you for people that their whole life has been square business, and I want to really get you to understand something. When them people start looking at you a certain way, and you know they're looking at you, it takes a lot of heart to keep doing what you're doing, whether you right, wrong, or indifferent. And so the way in which this system has destroyed a lot of our activists is through police forces and through the federal government, right? And so when you know that them people is looking at you, right? Because a lot of the 501c3 church people, they got permission by the government to do what they're doing. We're going to just tell the truth today, right? A lot of the biggest pastors in the world right now today, they got permission from the government to do what they're doing. That's why there's not a really a radical streak anymore in the Black church, because the federal government figured out how to co-opt the Black church. So you don't see any radicalism in the Black church anymore, right? But at one time, the Black church was radical. At one time, they're not anymore. So what I want you to understand is that when them people start looking at you a certain way, and many of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm just going to give you an understanding. When them people start looking at you a certain type of way, when them people put you under surveillance, right? When them people start, when you know that they looking at you a certain type of way, When they start letting you know we looking at you a certain type of way, and you keep doing what you're doing, it take a certain level of heart. It just does. And that's something that a lot of our activists have been faced with, where you know that they're looking at you, but you still got to keep going what you're doing, because the goal and the mission is bigger than what they putting you through. But they doing it because they want you to fold up shop. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? And so that's what I want you to realize, is that this is what they do. So I'm not a fan of how they've co-opted this old image of Malcolm X, right? But that's just, I'm sorry, this image of MLK, but that just is what it is, right? So what I want you to realize is that they're going to have that holiday. I think they're going to have the inauguration the same day. I want to just discourage you from getting caught up in some of the narratives, because like I said, I'm not here to promote them, but I'm not here to down them. But anybody to where you are dealing with opposition from government around what you're doing, and you know the government is waiting for you to make a misstep for you to, so they can lock you up, or so they can do this, that, and the third. You know, it takes a lot of courage to do what you're doing. I was talking to somebody the other day, people from the Atlanta metro area know, I don't know the brother's Islamic name, right? But I know his American name, which people know as H. Rap Brown. I don't know his Islamic name. And he was doing work over here in the West End, and he was turning the West End around. And they use a lot of situations with law enforcement to twist that brother up. He in the Supermax right now, right? So that's what they do to us. They try to figure out a way to get you in a certain type of bind, a certain way. They try to diminish what you're doing. And he was turning the West End around. This was 25, 30 years ago. So what I want you to understand is that this type of stuff goes on. Now, let me go into this real quick before we go and get into the mess. I just want to go ahead and cover all these bases. Y'all seen this right here with Meech doing this legacy concert. Somebody showed this to me last night, like late last night. So this down in Florida. This is where the Florida Panthers play. That's their stadium they playing. I think it seats like 7,000. And I was saying that he don't have a lot of skills. So he's in his 50s and he don't have a lot of skills. So what can he really do to make money? And I was explaining that to somebody. And what I want to really encourage you is to not to be in a situation similar to Meech, where you don't build skills over the course of your life, and you arrive at a certain age of your life, and there's really no way for you to make money. Because I told somebody, once they do this, now what they're going to do. Right? Because this is a one-time event at an arena that seats 7,000 people. So that's why I keep trying to hammer to people, get some skills to take the bills. I don't want you in a position to where you know for 50 years old, right? And you don't have a skill set. And so then now there's really no way for you to really figure out how to make money in this economy. Because I was telling somebody, and I just texted him back, if I had a team put together already, I would tell Meech to go into the course selling game. Because to me, he'd be better off trying to sell people information than trying to be a celebrity, right? And I think he can make some bread selling information as opposed to trying to be a celebrity. Because in reality, a lot of these young folks are not going to buy into his celebrity status. But if he has information that can be beneficial to their situation, he can be successful in that, and it can scale him out. But the problem again is that when you're north of 50 and you haven't really developed any real skills, it can be very difficult for you to make money. And I don't want you to end up like that, right? Because I don't understand this whole thing of somebody come out of jail, and I don't know why that's supposed to be like a celebrity event, because it wasn't like they went to jail because they was a political prisoner. You know what I'm saying? Because when Sundiata got out of jail, y'all didn't give him no parade. When they let Matula out of jail, y'all didn't do nothing for Matula. Right? So I just don't understand this, but it's just me. And no disrespect to Meech and what they got going on, but I'm just not understanding what the appeal is. But I want to really tell you, you want to make sure that you develop some skills, even if you're incarcerated, so you don't get out and you trying to do things to get the situation going because you haven't developed any skills, right? So let's go ahead and get to what I'm talking about. So we talking about how to lead past your pain in life and business, right? So let's get back to the topic. So I'm going to tell you some stories. I'm going to give you my testimony. I'm giving you scenes of the movie. I'm not giving you the whole movie. So I just want you to understand that the goal is for you to take my testimony, look at it, apply it to your own life, and then try to understand how you can lead past your pain in life and business, right? In my opinion, based on my own experiences, your biggest successes are going to come through people. And what I mean is that you're often going to have your biggest successes from your relationships with other people. It's not going to necessarily come from artificial intelligence. It's not going to come from technology. It's not going to come from machines. It's going to come from your relationships with other people, right? And so the reason why that's important is because you want to always be working on your relationships. Because if your biggest successes are going to come through people, then you want to really make sure that you're really working on your relationships. At the same time, though, people are also going to disappoint you. So your biggest successes are going to come through people, and your biggest successes are going to come, your biggest disappointments going to also come through people. And that's just how that's going to work. And you want to understand that, so when things happen, you don't get too high, but you also don't get too low. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, and nobody's perfect, including yourself, right? So we can't hold other people to this standard of perfection if we can't hold ourselves to it. We can't critique other people and criticize other people and look for improvements in other people, but we also can't take those same critiques and those same improvements, right? So we can look at other folks and say, well, if you would have did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this would have worked out better. Or I'm telling you to do da, 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 da. But then when we turn around and come to us, we can't take it. It's, oh, I'm just like that. That's not going to work, right? Or we surround ourselves by people that enable the things that we do wrong because they never going to critique us, right? But we stay right where we at. And they know that, but they don't really care about us like that. So then we never get improved in our particular area, right? So that's what I want you to understand. Your biggest successes, your biggest disappointments are going to come through people because why? You're working with people to get them, okay? So let me tell you a really quick story. So years ago, I was a media buyer, right? I was doing Facebook ads. And I was in like this business mastermind group out here in the Atlanta metro area. And so I knew this woman who was an attorney, and she had an office like in that Tucker, Lawrenceville area for people that know the area. So she knew what I did. So she told me, hey, I'm going to have you speak in front of a lot of real estate agents, right? And they will be a good good pool of people for you to potentially do business with. So we're going to like present you as a subject matter expert, have you speak and talk about how real estate agents can use Facebook ads to promote their houses, but also promote themselves. And you see now that's really, really big, especially on Instagram. I was talking about doing this like 2014, 2015, 2016. Okay. So she told me that's what we're going to do. Okay. So I said, cool. I agreed to it. So I went to Office Max, had them do some signage for me, bought a, what do you call it, an edsel or easel for the stand, for the signage, created some other promotional materials that I could give out at that particular event. And I sat back and waited to get the call that we're going to do the event. The call went on, the situation went on and on and on, and she never gave me the call to do the event, right? So I spent this money up front to do this particular deal, and she told me that's what we were going to do, and then I'm following up with her, and it's like she becomes incommunicado about it, right? So eventually, over time, I realized it's just not going to happen, right? That these are things that are going to take place in business and in life, right? People are going to disappoint you. It happens. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? However, if that woman called me right now and say, I need some help and I can help her, I'm going to try to help her. And I'm going to try to come through for her. Because I realize at this stage, I got to lead past my pain in life and in business. Because there's a correlation between your real life and your business. I got to lead past that. I can't be so mad at this woman that she told me something. I spent money based on what she told me. It didn't work out. And now I'm just outdone. And this happens to a lot of people. They become so sour around stuff to where now they're not effective at anything because they're still dealing with that last situation. And so what happens on the internet is that people now realize that about people. They realize that they're very hurt by a lot of stuff. So their attitude is, how can I continue to traumatize you and keep you right where you're at? Because I know you're just stuck on your pain, right? And so what I want you to understand is that I couldn't allow that situation to outdo me. Because here's what I know, and it's because I've been dealing with people for an extended period of time. She probably couldn't put the deal together. So she told me, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to bring these people together, yada, yada, yada. And she probably just couldn't put the deal together. And so often if our brand is set up on doing certain stuff, right, and we can't do it, we sometimes are hesitant to say, I can't do it, right? And I just think she was embarrassed to tell me I couldn't put the deal together. Like I couldn't get enough people in the room to make it worth your while. I couldn't do it. And I just think she was hesitant to tell me that. But I would have preferred she would just came out and told me that instead of just becoming incommunicado and just ignore me every time I reached out to her. But that's how these things go. And I had a lot of experiences like that in the metro area where people would tell me that they're going to do something business related and it just would never come through. And for a very long time, it hurt me, but I had to move past it because why? I still got to deal with people. My business is based on me dealing with people. It's not based on I just go and I do a task on my job and that's how I get paid. I don't get paid like that. So if I get sour on dealing with people, right, I have an issue with what I'm trying to do. Okay. So that's what I want you to understand is that I couldn't let that be an impediment to my growth in life and business, even though I was very, very, very disappointed in how this went place. Right. Here's another story. I tried to open up a market for people in a particular area, right? And what I mean by open up a market, I tried to find a group of people that could do a particular job in a particular area because I was working with somebody. And I tried extremely hard to do it. I spent my own money trying to do it because it was a learning exercise for me to go through this particular exercise. I was not successful at it, right? Because I was working with people. So I had people tell me, hey, man, if you do 1, 2, 3, and then you call me, I'm going to do this. And I did 1, 2, 3, and I called them and they didn't do what they said they was going to do. Right? They just didn't do it. And I couldn't let that make me sour on the situation. I had to just keep working because it was a live event. So I had all these people lined up and I did what I was supposed to do. And then when I reached out to them, they didn't do what they said they was going to do. They literally just ignored me. I had another dude tell me it was going to cost me money, even though when we first had the conversation, he didn't say nothing about money. I had to just keep moving. Therefore, as a result, I was unsuccessful in what I was trying to do was develop this particular market around this particular situation, right? But I was upfront in telling the person that I was working with everything that was going on. I didn't try to hide it because why? It wasn't nothing to hide, right? I'm not going to be successful at everything I do, right? I'm not going to be 100% at everything I do. And if that's the only way you can deal with me, we probably going to have an issue because I'm not going to be 100%. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm going to try things and it's not going to work. So what I want you to understand is that I had to move past that pain and disappointment because I realized at the end of the day, I need people to make this work. So I just have to find the right people to make this particular situation work. Because one of the biggest issues was that I was trying to do something and I couldn't find people to make the situation work. And so that was one of my biggest issues. I couldn't find people to make it work, but I needed people to make it work. So I just have to keep working on where can I go to find the right people to make this situation work? Because at the end of the day, my success is going to come through people. It's not going to come through machines. It's not going to come through automation. I got to figure out how to get the right people in this situation to make this situation work. Okay, that's what I want you to understand. Another thing, you can be disappointed for so long, it hardens you. And that's a lot of what you see on the internet. You see a lot of people to where their disappointment is so hard in them that they can't do anything. And they look to people to justify why their heart is hard. Right? And that's really profitable, especially, and I'm going to say this again, with Black women. Black women are super consumers. So if you can figure out what Black women's heart is hard, and you can market to that, you can always make money off of it. Because why? They come to the internet to confirm why their heart is hard. Then there's another lane with men, but that lane for men is not as big because men have been told they can't even talk about what they're going through. So most men never express themselves until it gets really, really bad. But women are allowed to express themselves socially. So if I can figure out what women's heart is hard, I can market to that and get money and attention off of them by telling them I got the solution to where your heart is hard. But if you notice, there is no solution because why? The person's still doing it. So there can't be a solution to it. See? So that's what you have to understand is that there's no cure to it because you got to keep coming back to get more. But your heart is very, very hard. So what I want you to understand is that I have had to ask God to soften my heart because sometimes I anticipate being disappointed before it happens. Because why? I've worked with so many people that have disappointed me. I've worked with so many people that have disappointed me, right? To where I had to ask God really soften my heart in this particular area. So I'm not approaching every situation like, oh, this person not going to do what they say they're going to do. Because I've had a lot of people tell me stuff and just not do it. Right? Just straight up not do it. Or tell me that this ain't going to go the way it's going to go. And then when something happens, what they said they weren't going to do, they did. Right? And I've had it happen. And I'm not talking about family members. I'm talking about people that I've worked with, people that I've tried to build relationships with. And I've said, you know, if this and this go this way or this and this don't go this way, don't worry about it. I'm still going to be there for you. And that's not what happened. And I've had to ask God, well, soften my heart. So when I get into a similar situation, I don't assume that this person is going to do what the last 8 people have done. Because then I'm not opening myself up to new situations. So that's what I want you to understand is that you got to lead past that if you're going to be in a leadership situation. Many people don't want to be in a leadership situation so they can chase. I've been traumatized. I've been hurt. And now I'm going to look for a community of people that are just going to confirm that to me. And then they're paying people to confirm that to them because they're not in a leadership situation. If you're going to be an effective leader, right, you have to lead past your pain in life and business. It's not going to be easy, but you got to figure out how to do it. And that's if you want to be an effective leader. If you just want to be just the regular person and you just get caught up in every new trend and every new thing that's going on, and that's all you want to do with your life, you ain't got to worry about none of this. You can just go do that. And that's what the majority of people are doing. But I'm here to tell you, your community, your group, your family, they need leadership, right? They need leadership. And so you got to figure out how to lead in your own way. But people are going to disappoint you. That's a fact. People are going to tell you that they're going to do stuff. That's a fact. People are going to tell you, I'm going to be there for you, even when things get bad. They not. They're going to find a way to get. That's just how this is going to work. And you got to lead past all of that. Because your successes, if they come through people, your biggest disappointments also will come through people. And so that's what I want you to understand, because this is something that I've really much had to deal with. You got to forgive people and keep moving forward. You got to allow people to repair themselves, because everybody got issues, including you. And you often don't know what kind of issues you got until they get put under some type of stress. You don't know what kind of issues people got until they become disappointed in you. Right? You don't know where you and somebody are at until it's some disappointment or until they mad at you. Now you figure out where you and this person really at. Right? Because they'll often do what they said they weren't going to do. Or they may look to diminish you just because they're mad at you, even though you didn't think they would do that. So you got to understand is that people are going to disappoint you. If you're going to be in a long-term relationship with somebody, you're going to get disappointed by them. They're going to be disappointed by you. The question is, how do we deal with it and how do we move on? The question is a disappointment so severe to where we can no longer be around each other? But this idea that as soon as somebody disappoints me the first time, I got to isolate myself from that person. You're going to be doing that the rest of your life, because people are going to disappoint you if you work with people. But the way these people on the internet keep you there is they tell you, well, as soon as you and this one person have the first little issue, you need to, disregard this person. You need to block them on everything. You can't talk to this person no more. That's how they keep you right next to them. Because you notice they don't never tell you to do that to them. They just say to do that to everybody else. You got to realize the hustle that's going on. See? So I want you to understand something. If you're going to be in leadership, I'm talking to people that desire to be in a leadership, that's people that's in leadership. People are going to disappoint you. I work with people all the time. You have no idea, and I'm going to talk about this later, how many people that I tried to teach certain stuff to, and they just didn't want to learn it, right? And I couldn't allow that to diminish my enthusiasm for what I'm doing. I couldn't allow it, because what do I know? It's people that do want to learn it. So if I quit and allow that to diminish my enthusiasm, I'm going to not be able to get the people that do want to learn it. I just got to figure out another way to go about it. But at any given time, I have 5 or 6 people that I'm trying to teach the markets to. That got nothing to do with the course. And a lot of those people, I wouldn't say a lot of them, but some of them have chosen just not to move forward. Right? Y'all don't know, when I used to teach this class one-on-one, I would teach people the first class and they would never show back up. And I would follow up with them, right? I would follow up with them and they would never show back up. And then I would follow up with them again and would never show back up. These people paid me for the 3 classes, though. They paid up front. Because after the first class, they just realized, like, I don't want to do this. Right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Everything's not for everybody. But you got to realize I couldn't let that disappoint me so much that I didn't go and try to find another person to teach. So that's why I say it was God's grace that my first person I taught, they took to everything I was telling them. They was enthusiastic about it, because if that person would have probably turned me down and not actually been enthusiastic about it, I may have never moved on. So God knew exactly who to send me as my first student. But I'm always trying to get people an understanding of this particular space. And a lot of them have disappointed me, right? A lot of them, in my opinion, didn't really respect the game I had. But I couldn't let that defeat me so much, I didn't keep doing what I was doing, because I'm in a leadership position. And if you're in a leadership position, you're going to get disappointed. Things are not going to always go your way. People are going to disappoint you. People are going to do you wrong in leadership. You're going to be done wrong as a leader. And you got to ask yourself, is what I'm doing and the goals I'm trying to hit and the cause I'm about, is that so important that even though I've been done wrong by people, I keep doing it? And always, and this is just my opinion, unless somebody has done something very egregious to you, I always allow the relationship to be repaired, because a lot of things happen because of misunderstandings. A lot of things happen because lack of time together. And a lot of things happen because of what each individual person has going on inside their head. And that often destroys situations. But a lot of times when people sit down and talk, they realize that it really wasn't nothing. It was just a misunderstanding. There's these 2 guys that y'all don't know, and they were talking about they didn't like each other. But the reason why they didn't like each other, because they didn't really know each other. Once they sat down and started really talking to each other, they realized, I don't have no problem with you. You don't have no problem with me, but I have a perception of you just because I'm looking at you from afar. Right? And so that's what I want you to understand, is that I want to really encourage you, especially if you are a Black woman, even though I don't have a big Black woman audience, be wary of people who are only monetizing your disappointment and your pain. Be wary, like really observe to where they claim they're going to teach you, but the only way they keep you around them is to continue to trigger you. You got to be really careful of that. And there is no real solution in what they're doing to where you can get the solution and no longer have to deal with them. It's always coming back to them. And then ask yourself, why do you like those type of relationship dynamics? And then why, if somebody's really trying to put you in a position to where it's going to empower you to where you no longer have to deal with this type of stuff anymore, you're avoiding that and going back to the pain. Because that may take some deeper introspection as around why you're getting involved in the activities that you're getting involved in. And then 2, realize that you got to lead past your pain in life and business, right? You got to lead past it. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to do business deals with people, and the business deal not going to go the way you want it to go. You got to keep going. You're going to create partnerships with people. You have no idea how many people told me when I was a media buyer, I'm going to incorporate you in my business this way. I'm going to incorporate you in my business this way. We're going to do this together. And none of that stuff turned into anything. None of it. And I believed in it, and it did help my business. In fact, some people could say it was detrimental to my business. I got to move on. I'm not mad at any of those people. You want to know why I'm not mad at them? Because they couldn't put the deal together. They just couldn't put the deal together. right? Their deal-making skills weren't as good as they thought they were. It don't mean they didn't try. It just means I just see it as they couldn't put the deal together. Sometimes the deal just can't come together. But if I was to just get all sour and be like, oh man, this is why, I don't do business with black folks, and this is why I don't deal, I would have nothing today. Right? Because the majority of my business is done with black folks. The majority of my clientele is black. So when I have a bad experience with a black person, that don't turn me against black people, because I've had more positive experiences with black folks. Right? So that's what I want you to understand. If you're going to be in a leadership position, if you're just going to be run of the mill, you're just going to be one of many, you probably don't have to worry about none of this. You can just bounce around until you pass away off this earth. But if you're going to be into a leadership position, you got to understand that you got to look at things differently than the average person. Right? And things are going to happen to you, and you got to understand, how do I deal with this situation, and how do I continue to move on, and how do I not let myself get stuck here, and how do I not let a person keep bringing me back to being disappointed? Because that's how they make their money off of me. So we're going to read these comments. Anybody got any questions? We're going to get up on out of here. It's Friday. For a lot of people, it's going to be a 3-day weekend. I do believe it's a federal holiday. We know we're doing the inauguration, I believe, on Monday. The 20th is the inauguration. And, we're going to take it from there. The TikTok CEO is going to be at the inauguration. So, yeah, TikTok not going to get banned. That's not going to happen. He's going to be at the inauguration. So Life Beyond the Ring, what's up with it? Pascal, what's going on with it? Miss Phoenix 91. Yeah, sorry about the time. I just be, Miss Phoenix 91, I just be doing stuff. So sorry about that on the time. I looked at it when I got ready to start. I said, I put PM. You know me, I get into a creative mood and just go for it. So sorry about that. GC, what's up with it? Life Beyond the Ring, man, I think I need to get a new cable for my microphone. So it definitely could be my audio. I think I need to get a new cable for my microphone, bro. Or it's either my internet. It's one of the two. But I think I need a new cable for my microphone. It's something I got to work on. I got to figure out how to get the cable, but not have to get a whole new mic, because it's not a traditional USB to input. What's up to Miss Brandy Williams? So you say the venue seats 20,000. Yeah, they're not going to put 20,000 in there. I guarantee you that. Jamal Favor says a man got to leave pay on the pain. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Especially in this world right now, Favors, because people believe that men don't have no emotions, or we don't have a full emotional range. So they just think they can do whatever they want to do to us, especially if you're a black man. People just think they can just do whatever they want to do to us, and we just supposed to bounce back. They don't believe that we have a full emotional range like every other human being. So as a black man in leadership, you got to learn how to lead past that, because you're dealing with people, and also black people, who don't believe that you got a full emotional range like everybody else. They just believe they can just do whatever they want to do to you, and you just supposed to bounce back. So you got to learn how to lead past that. So Greg, I got a video on that, bro. So check out the 10-year plan video. It's up there. So check it out. What's up to Christian from Phoenix, Arizona? Okay, so that looks like it's going to be it. So appreciate everybody for coming through. We're going to get up and out of here. Hope y'all have a good, safe weekend. I'll see some of y'all tomorrow on the live stream. Be easy and talk to you later.